All right, guys, we're back for another episode of A Few Points from Perfect. Down a co-host, gained a few friends here this evening. So
just a few.
This evening, morning. I don't know what time of day is it.
This weekend has kind of all blurred in together.
Yeah, it's been a long road here. So first off, we'll let you guys kind of introduce yourselves and who you are. And
all right, guys, I'm Junior.
Nope.
Metalworks.
Nope. We're not going to let this slide right off the bat. Anybody that watches our live feeds or any of our channels, we got to let radio announcer Junior go around the table.
I'm not 100% sure how all this started.
You're not getting out of this.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, Junior with S.O.T Metalworks coming to you here live and direct from the Dirt Perfect compound with his very beautiful wife, Miss S.O.T, head CEO, and my supervisor on a regular basis.
So we've known each other for what, going on 3 years?
2.5 years, yeah, maybe a little over 2.5 years, and it's been a fun ride.
It's been interesting. The running joke for a while is Miss SOT's become my YouTube wife.
That's right.
So this is my challenge during this podcast. It took almost 40 minutes to get my real wife to cuss on the podcast. So
I'm not as nice as Miss Jenna.
Yeah.
Like
guys,
people should know this.
She's pretty good at putting people in their place. So.
She may be my fake wife, but she's still real mean.
Stop it. I am not mean. I'm just direct.
Is that where Junior gets the live and direct?
That's it. That's where it comes from. Don't tell all my secrets.
She's very good at keeping tabs on me. That's one good thing about having a wife like her.
I'm very good at keeping tabs on you, Mike Simon, Lager Wade.
And we would like to say it's a full-time job.
That would be an understatement. I think we'll get to this in a little bit, but I always think Jamie thought I was the easy one out of the group until we went to Louisville one time.
Yeah, and then I found out you were not.
I may have just a little longer weight in me.
Just a little.
There's a little squirrel here and there.
Yeah.
Just occasionally.
I stay caged up a little more than him, but whenever I get out, watch out. So.
Watch out. Don't turn
I
him loose.
kind of turned into like the YouTube mom, I feel like. Like
We
in
need one of
Texas,
those.
I was the only girl that went, so I kind of had to like mother hen everybody. It's all good. I'm good at that. I can corral squirrels.
Let's back up here a little bit. Let's kind of talk about, I guess, a couple things we want to hit on this podcast. Let's talk about how we met, our relationship, what you guys do as far as your business. But I think one place we can help a lot of people is talking about success in YouTube. Because you guys have been very successful in YouTube, but it is a completely different success than I've had in YouTube. So
Different path there, that's for
different
sure.
path, yeah. So let's kind of start off. We met through YouTube, but
Right.
you guys have been doing YouTube longer than me, I believe, haven't you?
If it wasn't by just barely. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Because
just
I
barely.
remember whenever I come onto the scene, I think we basically met. Was it an Elite Earthworks or a Jason Works a Lot live feed?
Yeah, I think maybe one of Wade's maybe. Was
Yeah,
in
I
there,
remember
and
we were
then
in the
got on a
comments.
Jason Works a Lot live stream. That's how I met those guys, and then we got on Elite Earthworks and Jason Works a Lot.
Wait. Let's be realistic here. We met because Junior was stalking Longer Wade. Like, come on, tell the truth.
If you tell everything you know, pretty soon you don't know nothing.
But a little quirky, let's go back even a little bit further before you met. We vacationed in Derby, Indiana
Yes.
the summer before we met you.
Yeah.
So
We brought our
everybody
family
knows-
here in vacation.
So everybody
with
knows
our
here, we
boat.
live directly across the river from Derby,
Well, that's
Indiana.
where I was going to get with that is, not to interrupt you there, Junior, but we were on one of these live feeds, and I'd known your channel and you for probably a month or maybe 2 months. Like we were
Right.
in the same little circle we were running in. And Junior comments one day, I'm about 45 minutes from Louisville. I swore I would have bet my life he lived in Pennsylvania. I'm like,
Why did you think that?
I don't know, but I'm like, I didn't know there was a Louisville in Pennsylvania. Like, that's weird. I thought I would have heard of this, Louisville, Pennsylvania. And then I realized we were talking about going to a trade show in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm like, well, son of a bitch, I'm 45 minutes from Louisville, Kentucky.
Right. And I'm not sure. Maybe it was like the farm machinery show around that time.
It
or
may have been the
something-
farm
something
machinery
like
show.
that.
It was
I mean-
like spring. It was springtime.
Yeah, at this time, I had like 4 subscribers. You know, it was like,
whatever.
you know, I'm pretty sure you had more than me. You were like 250 or something. Like you were way up there.
Yeah, but boy, how times have changed.
So the moral of this story is come to find out, Junior, the way the crow flies, lives like 12 miles from my house. Like if there wasn't a hill between us, we could probably see each other.
Pretty much.
If
Yep,
this
we
crazy
could see
river
each
would
other's houses.
freeze, we could just
Yeah,
walk.
we could just walk. But now it takes us about an hour to drive from
Right, because we have
there's this big Ohio River between us.
We got a river between us. There's a bridge up north and a bridge down south of us, and we're kind of both directly in the middle of those two bridges. So travel time by road takes a little time.
Get the Derby mayor to put a bridge down here. We'll be there in no time.
Yes, if we knew the Derby mayor and we could get him to do that, that'd be awesome.
The Derby mayor's expense account says a boat's cheaper.
Maybe we could go back old school, go ferry.
Let's go with the old ferry.
At least one big enough for like the Razor.
Yeah. So anyways, we after we established I was an idiot, which don't take a whole lot, and you guys don't live in Pennsylvania of all places, and you live in the great Commonwealth of. We need to talk about that. Kentucky's not a state.
No, we're Commonwealth.
It's a Commonwealth.
Yeah,
I mean.
you're like there's like 49 states in Kentucky. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm not joking.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not. People think I'm joking. They said there's 50 states. I'm like, no, there's not. There's not.
There's 49 in Kentucky because
we
are a Commonwealth.
Yeah. So what the hell's a damn Commonwealth?
If you find out, you let me know. We still can't figure it out.
It's complicated.
It's very unentertaining. Let's put it that way.
My favorite Kentucky question, and most Kentuckians get this wrong. What is the capital of Kentucky? Louisville or Lexington?
Neither.
Frankfurt.
And Frankfurt's about the size of Derby.
It might be a little bit
bigger.
A little bigger now, but it used to be.
Yes, you would think one of our big metropolitan cities like Louisville or Lexington would be the capital, but that is not the case.
No, Frankfurt.
Now, back in the day.
But if you want to have a trivia game, you give them those two options, 95% of people will get it wrong.
I used to in school all the time, so. But no, it's been a good state for us. We were raised there pretty much all our life, so it's
been a good Commonwealth for you.
I'm gonna put it in quotations. It's a state, okay?
He says that, but he's not. He's a military brat.
Yeah.
He's from all over. Like,
all right, so let's get back to how we met Dirt Perfect, and then we'll digress into all of this.
So anyways, after I realized you lived in the Commonwealth of Kentucky and not the state of Pennsylvania. Which, now that I know more about Pennsylvania, I think you're in a better place. But that's a whole other conversation.
I don't know. Our governors are friends.
Oh,
yeah. So that makes us nervous on a regular.
Yeah, that's not good. That is not good. You guys flee down there and end up over here. It's like the North and South all over again.
Yep. That's
true.
But so, anyways, we figured out we're like not that far apart.
Right.
And,
we emailed back and forth, I think, a couple times maybe, and got each other's numbers and something like that. Maybe you got my number from Wade or from Jason, maybe, or something.
So this brings us up to the first time that we actually met in person.
Right.
It was a play date.
Yes, Miss S.O.T. says, "Hey, your buddy's going to be here for your play date."
Now let's set the stage to make sure we get this right. I maybe had 200. I think you still had more subscribers than me when we first met.
It's possible. I doubt it, but it's possible. I could never imagine I'd have more subscribers.
I still am that way today, but like back then, I was like absolute nobody. I mean, I had just started.
Yeah, you were just getting your feet wet with the YouTube thing. Wade kind of finally talked you into everything.
Yeah, Wade. So I had found some parts for my Mac on Facebook Market Side.
Yep.
And they were pretty close to where I thought you lived, within 10 or 15 minutes.
Fan clutch and something.
Yeah, it was air fan clutch, and I was wanting to convert it over to an air fan clutch. So, this time I had your number. We talked on the phone or back and forth a few times. So, anyways, I'm over your way, and I text him. I'm saying, hey, man, I'm going to be in your neighborhood. I thought about stopping by.
Swing on by.
Yeah, I didn't know the chaos behind the scenes I caused.
In the house, he was so excited. He's like, "You're never gonna believe who's coming by here." I'm like, "Who?" And he's like, "Dirt Perfect." I'm like,
"Who's Dirt
Who
Perfect?"
the hell is Dirt Perfect? Like,
that's a very legitimate question. Actually,
well, like I didn't watch YouTube. You know,
she. So at this time, she was not into YouTube thing. She very rarely watched YouTube.
But you have to cut me a little bit of slack. You and Junior are a lot alike. Like a lot. Like you get involved in things, and you're like 110% until you're not. So, like, he would have these harebrained ideas. Oh, I'm going to do this. And it would go for a couple years, and then it kind of fizzled down. So, when he started YouTube, I'm like, yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. You know, like, that was my mentality.
She's hard on me. She's hard on me.
It's going to be a fling.
Yeah. So, I had no idea, like, I didn't know who Dirt Perfect was. I didn't know. The only reason I knew who Logger Wade was because he had been stalking him. Like,
we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, it was legit. Like, I'm like, who the hell's Dirt Perfect? And he's like, he's Logger Wade's neighbor. I'm like, oh,
Oh, that
okay.
guy. That guy.
So that explains it. Yeah, I
That
understand.
was my claim to fame back in the day. I'm Logger Wade's neighbor. Yeah, you live next to the crazy guy? That's me, yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it went down.
So Jamie didn't want to have nothing to do with this play date that day. She didn't want to be outside. She didn't want to meet nobody. You know, she was.
What time of year was this? It was
still cool. It was spring.
Like
yeah.
late winter, early spring, somewhere in
Yeah.
there.
Somewhere in the neighborhood, and Jamie kind of stayed in the house. She didn't want to have anything to do with it because she knew this was going to be.
This
one
was
of my
all
fly-by-night
going down on a
kinda
day
deals.
like we had company the day before. My house was a total disaster. Like
I didn't get the memo, sorry.
yeah,
She's like, don't bring him in the house. It's
yeah,
sick."
I had dishes scattered everywhere from a cookout or something. I don't know, but yeah.
So Mike shows up, and we talk and
In the
you know,
minivan, by the way.
No, you drove the green truck.
Oh, did I drive?
You had the
Damn,
green
I
truck.
brought out the
Green
good
truck.
vehicle
Yeah.
for you.
Jenna was still driving the minivan at the time.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I guess she was.
So you pulled up in the green truck. We went in the garage, talked 15, 20 minutes,
It
something
was
like
probably
that.
longer than that.
Well, yeah, 15, 20 minutes. And he's like, hey, while we're doing this, let's turn the camera on.
Yeah.
And I believe that video was one of my earlier ones back on there, and it's just me and you standing in front of the camera, finding out about each
it's
other.
basically 2 years later.
Yep.
We're recording this the middle of February, so I'd say it's right at 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched that video recently, but I did watch it probably 6 months ago, and it is crazy to see
The difference.
the difference.
The difference, everything.
The
in
difference,
just that
yeah.
short of time. I mean,
Yeah,
Like the awkwardness is long gone.
yeah,
You know, y'all were
it's-
still in that beginning, like
Yeah, we were a couple dogs sniffing each other out. Let's
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know each other, but it just standing and meeting in the garage that day, it was just like an old friend you'd talked to for years or something. I mean, it was.
But he
we
said
had
that,
so
like when
much
he came in the
common.
house, I'm like, oh, how'd your play date go? And he's like, it was great. It's like I've known him forever. I'm like, okay.
And it was just, it's weird. It's hard to run across somebody who you interact with that well, who we've been in the same places throughout our life,
Right.
but at completely different times. And when I say that, I also mean the scenery. Like we've been in Derby, he's been across the river, he understands. So we were used to talking about the same things in the same places. So
Yeah,
it was-
and we had some mutual people we've encountered,
Over the years,
yeah,
and-
so yeah, I mean, it was a great stop. That was
and from being from Pennsylvania, that was kind of interesting. That was
that was the quickest trip to Pennsylvania I ever took. Now that I'll have to admit that wasn't being Walker Wade's neighbor. That wasn't my first YouTube encounter or meet and greet because I had those before I even started doing YouTube myself. But this was your first.
Yes, this is my official meet somebody else on YouTube deal.
Yeah.
So it was a nerve-wracking situation at first. I'm not going to lie, because you're always worried how that stuff's going to go down and what kind of people you're going to meet and stuff like that.
See, I was just excited. I had no nerves at all. Like, I'm gonna blow in here. This guy's gonna be a flip, or he's gonna be a flop, or he's gonna be cool.
I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here for 2 minutes
Yeah.
or 2 hours. One
Yeah,
of those.
give me 20 minutes, I'll give you a report. But
Hey, I passed the report.
yeah, you passed the report. But no, we ended up having a good time. Did I film anything on my channel? I got a snippet on my channel. I
A
think.
little bit. You
But the
barely
main,
turned the camera on.
The main video, guys, I don't film a lot. News,
No,
I don't. I really don't.
It's sometimes it's when you're in a moment, turning the camera on is the last thing you
We
think
talked about this weekend we had Ed from Full Tilt Grading down, and Logger Wade was here, and
Jason Works a Lot.
Jason Works a Lot was here, and it was talking about this was Ed's first big YouTube meet and greet weekend, and we talked about that. Like, I just want to hang out with friends. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's and that's kind of what we had that day. But I guess where I was going with that is there is a pretty good video on your channel of our first meeting, and it's on SOT Metalworks channel.
He says a pretty good video, but it's the camera sitting on the workbench facing us, and we're just talking to each other.
It was a good video for 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was. And
Well, a lot has changed. Like you
Yeah.
have
You've
better
seen-
equipment. Everybody has better equipment, and you kind of like know what you should and shouldn't be doing, and angles are easier because you just gotten used to it. Yeah.
well, in that video, you see like we're actually finding out about each other in the video, so it's a real legit deal. And light bulbs are coming on every couple minutes because we're finding out more about each other as the video goes on.
Anybody that's followed either one of our channels for a while, it'd be cool for them to go back and watch that video.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
Yeah.
you'd see like a lot of preluders to stuff coming down the line that end up,
Right,
happening.
right.
So
And you'd have to dig deep in the archives of SOT Metalworks to find that one.
We'll have to see if we can find. I'll try to find a link to that video. We'll put it in the description of this one.
Cool,
and,
that'd be awesome.
Get it in there, but no, I mean, I left there thinking, we're going to see Junior and Jamie again. You come down briefly.
I did. I come down and met you.
Was it Shelby? Come down. One of your guys' daughters. Come down and met briefly. I didn't talk to you a whole lot that day.
And this was just as SOT Metalworks was getting going. So our business
we weren't
was,
even SOT Metalworks.
Yeah, we were shooter option targets,
which is the shirt you got on there.
Which is still who we are, but YouTube does not like that. But that's neither here nor there, maybe.
So I don't quite remember the timeline. What was it like? You were obsessed with Logger Wade, and that's one of the few things I remember you saying whenever you were down there is how you knew where I lived because you stalked Logger Wade.
Well, yeah, and Wade had been on your channel, and of course, like I said before, we'd been to Derby, so I knew the places you guys were at.
Right.
Well, that actually started when you watch Wade videos and he talks about Derby and where he's located and stuff like that. That was part of what sparked the interest was because we knew those areas. We boat here.
That's what gravitated me toward. How I found Wade's channel was he was building Calvin and Jackson, the two short bunk log trailers he's got. Yeah. And, of course, I was into the welding side of things and everything, and it hit me finding that channel at the right time. And you also
have some logging history. You worked in the woods a little bit.
Yes. Back in the day, did work a little bit, driving skidder, working woods and stuff like that. So it was...
So we'll fast forward. It was probably 3-4 weeks. Then you guys ended up making a trip over to here. Mm-hmm. And you guys brought me...
And see, Jenna blew us off, so, I mean, it was like tit for tat.
That is true. I forgot about that.
Way to throw Miss Jenna under the bus. Good job,
I mean,
Jamie.
I love Miss Jenna, but she didn't realize, we were coming for the day.
And that
she thought we were
been my fault.
Maybe just a little. So she thought we were just dropping stuff off, and she had plans. So she was like, hey, nice to meet you, and she banked out.
This is one thing a lot of people won't realize, that Mr. Dirt Perfect is a fly-by-the-seat of his pants kind of guy. There's not a lot of planning involved sometimes, but things work out extremely, extremely well. And
determination. I got a lot of determination.
Yes, and it helps. It does.
So anyways, Junior made me 2 awesome metal signs, and there is a good video on my channel.
You ordered one.
Well, yes, this is true. This is true. And the one I ordered is the one you guys see in my live streams behind my computer. I'm going to redo some lighting to work on the glare of it. Then you made one nice enough. Jenna gave approval to keep in the house,
which you were highly impressed about.
I was, and I do have videos of that on my channel. Somebody commented on that video the other day, but Junior was down here. He's like, "Here's your sign. Where's Wade?"
No.
We're gonna see Wade. Like your sign, great. Let's go see.
I think that was the first video on my channel.
It is
true.
Let's go
driving from here to
digress just a touch. I told Mike I was not here to meet Logger Wade that day. I was here to meet him. We were here to meet
hang with Mike,
Perfect and hang out with him. And he was insistent that we go up and meet Wade. So I did say that. I'm like, I didn't come
because
to
at
meet
this
Wade.
point I knew how obsessed you were with Logger Wade.
Okay, but let me even just bust the whole bubble on the truth of all of that. So we get up there and we meet Ann and Wade. But you know what he was more excited about? Big Mama. He was more excited about meeting Big Mama than Wade.
Got a kiss on the cheek from Big Mama.
It's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
Big Mama. We gotta get Big Mama on the podcast. She's a special person.
That's a live wire right there.
Yeah, she's one of a kind.
Yep.
Definitely.
Most definitely.
And so yeah, we went up and met Wade. That was the first time you guys met Wade in person, right?
Yep. Very first time.
I mean, I tried to warn you. Wade's Wade.
And she says stalking Wade, but let's go back to this just a little bit. I knew all these places and knew where all this was going down at and stuff. And I would come in the house and tell her, hey, you remember going over such and such? Yeah. Hey, well, Wade just posted a video and they're at that location. It was fun and interesting
was
to see.
That's just a real loose word I tease him about. Because, it was one of those things, we were on our way to a cheer competition in French Lick. And we happened to be up by the mill area. So we just swung through and saw where the mill was. It wasn't true stalking.
Right.
Yeah,
the only time that really concerned me is when we come floating down the river with binoculars and they were trying to figure out which house. That was a little stalkerish, and I had to draw the line. Yeah, he was put on like, you know,
Well, I mean, there
a
were
little
some
bit
eagles
of
flying
probation.
around, and I may have kind of balled it all into one kind of thing there, but yeah. It's,
So, I get this. I used to get this question all the time, especially whenever I started doing YouTube. I don't get it a whole lot anymore, but everybody always asks me, "What's Wade like? What was your first experience meeting Wade?"
not a bit of difference on YouTube than it is in real life.
I was
Not.
Shorter.
Yeah,
He's shorter. He is shorter.
I always tell everybody that YouTube is almost the tamed down version of Wade.
It is.
is.
It is.
So in the YouTube side of things, you get a chance for Wade to go back and edit his videos. So he takes some of it down, than he
Yeah, he
normally
cuts
would.
out the most crazy parts, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little more tamed down.
Yeah, Wade's, but Wade's is as genuine, authentic as authentic gets.
Yes.
I mean, almost to a fault.
Yes.
He's a
totally.
highly caring individual who goes out of his way to make sure
He loves
everybody's doing-
everybody, and he thinks the best of everybody. And it's rare to find people that are not ever jaded by that. And he's
Yeah,
not.
he's not.
Never,
And
ever. Yeah.
We've even tested him a few times this weekend, and he hasn't wavered one bit.
Right.
Not one
right.
bit. Not one
Even when
bit.
I tell him he should, he don't listen very well.
I presented the evidence. Oh, I
Right.
see your evidence. I ain't mine.
I don't care.
So yeah, we come over here and brought Mike Science, and I don't believe, did we meet Jenna?
We
then?
did.
Yeah, that's
I
what
think
Janie
just a-
was talking
just a
about. I
minute or
told
two.
her you guys were coming over in true Dirt Perfect fashion. I didn't really have a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
It
She
worked
th-
out
I mean,
good,
she
though.
just thought we were delivering signs.
And I don't know. I knew there was a possibility you were coming. I'm not 100% convinced I knew for sure she was coming. I didn't.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he told you I was coming.
Yeah,
He just
yeah.
said he was coming.
Because
or whatever.
she was on the fence about it at the time. Because
Yeah.
she, when you meet people like this, you don't want to get in the way of what's going on and how they do things and stuff like that.
Well,
especially when it
didn't we
comes to
shoot
recording
that day?
videos.
Like we brought targets up or
Yep,
something?
because we ended up down at my brother's house.
Yeah. And so that was kind of like on the fence. This is like a guy thing or, it was kind of one of those deals. So,
Another guy thing. That's,
yeah.
This is maybe something to kind of touch on here a little bit because you guys have kind of been on both sides of it now. So, I get the question occasionally, like, approaching a YouTuber, like, how do we feel about that, or how do you think? And my thoughts are on it. If you see me out and you recognize me, I'm all for you coming up and saying hi and
Sure.
introducing yourself and
Definitely.
talking for 5 minutes. My only request is I'm still running the business and got 1,000 things going,
That's
so
it.
I can't talk for an hour. You know what I mean? Like
we live some pretty hectic lives,
Right.
And to slow down and take a few minutes with somebody, it is a big deal for us because of
But you
our
know what
timeline.
happens to us? Like, I think it's really important that people understand we need you to introduce yourselves and tell us how you know us. Like, you know us from YouTube because Louisville is a big city.
Yeah.
And we are in Louisville frequently for events, and people will come up to us, and we're not sure if they just know us or if they know us from YouTube. Because, like, we know a lot of people. We run into them in the city, obviously, because it's the closest city to our whole county or whatever. And this just happened. Like, when we went to the last event up there, some guy approached, and he's all like, "Hey, Junior, how's it going?" And he didn't really, like, specify how he knew us. And Junior thought it was somebody he just knew. And I'm like, "Junior, did you give him stickers?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, he knew you from YouTube. And
No, I
he's
mean,
like,
it's-
"Oh, man." So he has to run back and find the guy. Yeah. Good.
Well, the other day we were talking about this story this weekend. Me and Aaron were down in Booneville, which is a town to the west of here, and driving around with a man van. Somebody recognized us driving through town in the man van of all things.
Right.
And they chased us. They didn't chase us down, but they followed us to a gas station, and they come in and introduced themselves. "Hey, we watch you guys on YouTube. Love your
Yeah,
show."
And,
Said,
and
"Man,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
said, "Hey, man, that's awesome." Took a quick picture with them, bullshitted for 5 minutes, paid for my stuff, and left.
Right.
That is now.
That's
Which-
how you it's awesome that
Which
way.
is awesome because I want to meet you guys and I want to interact. Now, there's times if I got time, I'll sit there and talk to you for an hour or so, but that's kind of...
And it's,
Right.
it's catching somebody at the right time,
I mean, it's a little easier, I think, when you meet people like out of state because
Right.
they know me from YouTube. You
Right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right.
But like when it's around at home, sometimes it can get a little sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys catch us out, and you're respectful, and let us know what's going on. Hey, I'm watching on
But
YouTube,
people know us.
stuff
Like we
that.
all like to talk.
And-
Yeah,
so
and I don't. I've never asked you this before, and I know what happens. So it'll be interesting to see what your answer is. I'm learning as I go here, but I know people reach out to you guys trying to get to us.
They have before, not a tremendous amount, but a little bit. Hey, could you tell Mike this, or could you tell Wade this, stuff like that.
Or do you know how I can get a hold of?
Yeah.
We've been approached with that a few times, and we're very careful.
If it's a warranted thing, I might catch you in passing and tell you,
Right.
hey, so and so is reach out to us and mentioned, hey, if you get time, go check out his channel or something like that. But it's a good filter to have for you guys because you guys are a lot bigger than us.
Yeah, I mean, if I never told you before, I appreciate it because we talked about this right before we started recording. On my end of things, it is getting very hard to manage everything because
yes.
it used to be 100 comments a day and 2 or 3 messages is now 100 messages and thousands of comments. And I feel horrible because there's people that have good questions or there's good opportunities on all those comments. I need to go through them. I need to, and if somebody took the time to write me, I want to do my damnedest to get back to them.
But there's only
But
so
you
many
run
hours
into
in a
catch
day.
2020. Do they want more videos or they want more interaction?
Because you've only got so much time in the day, and
Right.
and YouTube's not my job; it's my hobby. So I gotta make sure the family's taken care of first in the business.
And if you quit your job, there is no more YouTube videos. So
that sounds like a good no.
But you do have a whole clan that kind of like tries to help.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
interact and buff and answer some of the
YouTube-
questions.
YouTube
So you don't want
community is-
we don't want your people to be upset if we're like answering some of your questions because we're just trying to help out. So
No, if it's a legit deal and it's a warranted thing, I may not email him or text him right off the bat, but if we come over and spend a weekend, I'll mention, hey,
Well, and
so-and-so or
I
something
bring
like
that up because people used to do that with me in Logger Wade.
Right.
And I remember I'm like, man, I ain't bothering him with this crap. And then I'd see him and mention it, and then I passed the message along. But it
Like,
I don't know,
we
it kind of
just-
turns
I
into
just
a
did a
weird
video.
dynamic a little bit.
I just did a video of somebody ordering a sign. Now, they've met Loggerwade before, but they ordered a sign for Loggerwade's wife, and, we kind of went about it that way.
Yeah.
So that's a different aspect of it, too. I mean, it's,
All right, well, we'll move on here a little bit. So you guys come over. We had an awesome day. Went out, met Wade, met Big Mama, tried out some of your guys' targets, and from there, that was kind of the beginning of it. That's when the ball really started rolling. We had a couple YouTube gatherings here in Derby.
Yep.
Kind of back to back, and
I think we had one up northern Indiana right around that time.
yeah. Well, so we had one in March. I think that was the first time the elites and the works lots were down, and then we had another one around. I guess I had another one around July-ish, and then we ended up in
June, I think.
Then we ended up
there.
up at the Hoosier Hardwood Festival there in October or whatever.
That was an interesting deal. That was
So-
that was an eye opener.
But then after that, like our friendships developed more, I think, because then we started having like, hey, you want to meet for dinner?
Just like absolutely nothing YouTube related.
Yeah,
But I would say the moment that our relationship probably changed forever was ICUE.
That's when we all became really close friends.
Yeah.
It's that's what I'll say about that.
I don't even know where to start on this.
You were a hot mess.
This is where Jamie become my unofficial official YouTube wife.
Yeah.
So we asked Mike, hey, you want to meet such and such, and would you just ride with us, so on and so forth.
Well, the whole day fell apart from day one because me and Wade were supposed to go together. Wade fell out. And then
Right.
I think Kleeman was supposed to go with me, and Kleeman fell out. Brandon, the elites were supposed to come in. They didn't come in. Jason was going to come in. Jason didn't come in. Chris was going to come in. Chris didn't come in.
It's just a whole bunch was supposed to go down that didn't go down.
So
It
like
didn't go down. Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like me and Jamie and Junior going to this show, and
Right.
I'm like, I was going to be the low man on the totem pole,
And we
here-
already knew there were a couple people going to show up there that we hadn't met yet. We were going to meet up with.
Yeah.
Southern Dirt and Jared Digging,
And,
Dirty
Dirty Digging.
Digging, and a few other ones. So, anyways, before we even got to the show, it was a total disaster.
Yeah.
And it went downhill fast.
And then we get to the show. So we pull up, we park, we walk all the way into the entrance there.
4 miles.
Yeah, pretty close. We get all the
And
way
it's
there.
blazing hot that year.
Mike
it
said, I've got bad news. And I thought, oh, boy, he's going to have to go home. He already hates hanging out with us this bad.
But did you you forgot your phone? You had a wallet
he forgot
issue?
his wallet.
Well, I couldn't find my phone whenever I met you guys at Walmart to get in your truck, which got me all flustered, and I was pulling things out of my pocket looking for my phone.
Right.
So I found my phone. I'm like, all right, we're good to go. So we drive to Louisville, We park
which is 45 minutes. I mean,
we park in the back, which is a good parking spot, but you have to walk all the way across the expo hall to the registration.
Right.
So I wait in line for like 20 minutes for registration because the line's all zigzagged, all crazy. I get up there, she's like, ID? And I'm like, yeah, oh, shit.
So he has to come track me and Jamie down. We're in different lines.
I knew exactly where it was at. It was on the dash of the truck, but it wasn't my truck. I didn't have no damn keys to this truck. So then I'm like busting through the lines trying to find Junior and Jamie.
Trying to come find us.
I don't know Junior that well. I'm like, hey, give me your keys. I promise I'm not stealing your truck. You know?
I'm like, here, take it. I got good insurance. I ain't scared. So you forgot that, and then was there something else you forgot?
Well, yeah. So I ran back to the truck. We talked about how blazing hot it was.
Yeah, it was like 95 degrees.
I run back to get my registration. And I'm standing. Of course, it's hotter than balls, so I'm sweating. I'm standing there in line. I'm like, what did that? Somebody smells.
There's something bad going on somewhere.
I'm looking around. I'm like, well, she's pretty cute. I don't think she's the stinker. Looking around this way, this guy's in a suit and tie. Man, I don't know. I'm like, oh boy, I'm the only one left.
Process of elimination.
So I'll go over to Jamie. I'm like, would you happen to maybe have some deodorant? I might have forgot that this morning.
So Mike forgot a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And she's very important.
She's like, no. And then she's looking at me like, what are you going to do? So I grabbed the lemon hand sanitizer and started rubbing it in my armpits.
Mike said it burns when it goes on.
It was just a mess.
She's looking at me like, are you serious right now? And I'm like, test it. Just try it.
And just so everybody knows, this is all pre-COVID. So we didn't,
This was, it'll be 2 years ago.
Hand sanitizer was kind of hard to find.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It wasn't readily available and nobody cared about nothing at that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that was
it was all right. You weren't too stinky. I mean, like, it was all good.
So it was weird because, we're supposed to be here with all these bigwig YouTubers, and it's just me. And I'm thinking, well, we'll just fly under the radar. Nobody's ever going
to know I'm here.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
And then next thing I know, I got people following me. I'm like, well, that's interesting.
Who's all these people?
We had people.
So but this ended up being a good thing because Ted, the announcer from Hyundai.
Oh, I forgot. Jake with State Farm is there too.
Yes, Jake from State Farm was there.
Excavating 320.
No, it's 360 minus 40. He's always going to be 360 minus 40.
It's just because you can't remember numbers.
Well, I can that way. I can remember 360 minus 40. I cannot remember 320. So anyways, Jamie, you may have to jump in on this. I don't remember how this all went down, but we were just kind of walking around the show. It was outside. It was early in the morning, so we thought we'd do some of the outside stuff first.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I was serious about buying a new excavator at this point.
Yes, you were there to do some test trials.
So I was
when I was trying to get you to buy the one that had the bendy, scoopy, twisty, because it was pretty cool.
Excellent equipment.
Look, it's a girl description. Deal with it. Yeah.
Steel wrist. Yeah. So anyways, we were. I was looking for a Volvo case and maybe it was John Deere. I don't know. They had demos. Epic demo lot set up. So Volvo wasn't even there.
All the dirt hauled in. I mean, it was a pretty big.
So anyways, we made our loop outside, and we were getting ready to go inside, and there's this guy with a microphone standing out in the middle of the aisle, just running his mouth.
It reminded me a whole lot of like when you have the clown Duncan thing, and the clown is like, "Yeah, you can't hit it." Yeah, this guy was doing that to Mike. He was totally like egging him
water.
I don't know what happened to me, but I went full weight.
Oh, he did. He's like, "Come on!" He grabs a hold of my arm, and in we go.
I see this guy, and I'm like, seeing one awesome tormenting ability. This is going to go down right here. And so anyways, I clicked the camera on. And
you said something about, look, man, you don't want me coming in there. I'll win the competition, and everybody will be mad at me by the end of the day.
It didn't quite start off that way. So we walk up there, and he's staying out in the middle of the aisle, just talking on this microphone, and doing a good job. I might add.
Oh, he was doing a good job.
I just walk up to him with a camera, and I'm like, "Hey," I said, "What's an excavator? Soccer?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "It takes all kinds of skill. You got to take an excavator and put these soccer balls into stuff." And I'm like, "Oh man, you don't want me in there." I said, "Nobody have a chance after I play."
When it was like this moment, like Junior will tell me, "Here, hold my Chickalope." Mike was like that with his little expo bag. "Here, hold my bag.
Hold my bag.
Watch this."
I got
yeah.
So this guy's like dumbfounded. Like, where'd he come from?
Right.
And he's found his guy to play off of.
Yeah. So
he's-
we're standing out in the middle of the thing. We're going back and forth. He's talking on the loudspeaker. I'm filming it or whatever, and he's like,
and we're standing over here going, "Oh Lord, this
Oh,
is
this
probably
is
not
not
going to
good.
go."
yeah, he's like, so
I'm like, can I stand in your shaded tent? Because it's hot as balls.
Yeah. So he's like, you gotta take this excavator and put this soccer ball in this thing. I said, well, I know what a soccer ball is. I've never seen an excavator, but let's give her a try.
It was great.
I mean, Mike is playing this up the whole way, and you got to think.
And they'll have I think they're really debating whether or not they're going to let me on this machine at this point. Like I had to sign like
I think
3
they-
extra waivers over everybody
They were
else.
like looking at each other like, oh, hell.
I mean,
This
we
is
had
not
15 or
good.
20 people with us too, so this
Yeah.
is the biggest group of
Like, we
people
had a
they've
posse.
had.
Like for
all
some
day.
reason, and I have no idea why, people started following us. I
Yep.
mean, they did. So we it
Yeah.
wasn't just me walking in there; it was a whole group walking in there. So, anyways, yeah, and this is the Hyundai booth,
Right.
And I'll be honest with you guys, I had no interest in their machines. Zippo,
They
Nano,
weren't even thought in your
like
brain.
I never would have ever walked into that booth and considered buying one of
We
those
actually like
excavators.
walked past the entrance
Yeah.
to the booth, and then the guy starts tormenting you, and we had to turn around and go back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but we were on our way
So
to
and
lunch.
then this is a true story. So I mean, I didn't even acknowledge them over there.
Right.
So
you hadn't looked up any of the specs. You hadn't even took a glance.
the only reason I ever walked in that booth is because the guy with the microphone started tormenting me. Well, maybe I tormented him, but anyways, it don't matter. I'm in the booth. So I was like a little 85 series excavator. There's 3 balls on there, and I look out the guy. I said, "What's fast time?" He goes, 15 seconds. I said, "Shit, we can do this in 12."
And
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "You really need to learn to shut up. Like this is a good time to
just
shut
never
up." So I don't remember the exact numbers, but I got all 3 balls in there. I was leading the competition by like 3 seconds at this point. So I'm getting out all big back and cocky. I said, "Man, I'm trying this excavating thing for a living."
So you get done. You're in the lead.
Yeah.
Everything's done.
It's
Went down.
hot as balls.
Hot.
We
Hot.
at this point we have made a scene at this booth.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, yes.
there is
Like
really-
our crowd of 10 had doubled.
like John Deere's coming over to see what the hell's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They're yelling on the microphone still, all kind of stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah. It was
he was
loud.
laughing, joking, cutting up. People are coming out from behind the tent, staring around the tent, all kinds of stuff.
In the Hyundai social media lady, Susan, she's over in the corner like, I don't know if I should like post this or if I should like ignore this.
She was confused.
She was
confused at the time.
So this was pretty early in the day, so we leave, and our group keeps growing.
We
Yeah.
go to lunch. We walk around the inside of the show, and the whole time you can tell Mike's got something on his brain, but he's not really saying anything.
Oh, not to you, but to me, he's like, "Oh, we're going
Yeah.
back to that."
And
I'm
then-
like,
booth.
oh, we're going back.
Then I start
We're
getting,
going back.
Jamie's like, we got to hurry up. We got to go. I'm like, where we got to go? She's like, Mike wants to go back to the Hyundai.
Well, we
booth.
had
He's
asked
got
him
to
what
be there."
time.
We asked him what time because I wanted to come. I told the guy I was all cocky. I said, "What time do I need to come claim my prize?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I asked him then. I said, "Can I get my prize?" He said, "It's not over until the end of the day." I said, "What time is that?" He said, 5 o'clock. I said, "Well, just give it to me now. Save us both some time." He wasn't having none of it.
No.
So we ended up doing some other things and finally get back over there. And I mean, we're hustling because we have done lollygagged around long enough.
Oh, and this guy, Ted, he is proud. Like, he sees me coming from a mile away.
A long
Yeah.
ways off.
He's like, "Oh, man, it's fast times, 10 seconds, you're out." I said, "Ted, I ain't no idiot." I said, "I saved my best for last. I got a 7-second in the pocket."
That's it.
Oh, so he goes through this again.
But wait, but when we get back, we see people doing it a different way.
No, nobody was doing it a different way at that point.
Are you sure?
I was the first one, yeah.
Yeah, it might be.
But
Yeah.
no, you asked about QuickTime and you said how.
No, I asked if I was allowed to destroy cones.
Right.
Yeah.
And the guy, which is Tyler, the guy, he's like, "I think the rules are the balls just have to go in the thing." I
Yes.
said, "All I need to know." So then the announcer guy is up there talking a big game again about how I got beat and I'm going to lose and I suck and all this stuff. And I asked Tyler, I said, "Man, can I adjust those cones?" And he's looking at me like he knows I'm up to something.
Yeah, he knows there's a trick.
He
there
goes, "I'll
somewhere.
tell you what." He goes, "You can move the cones, but you got to do it in the machine. If you knock the ball off, that counts as a turn." I'm like, "Oh, boy." So this is when I become extremely impressed with Hyundai equipment because what I was trying to do is get all 3 cones in a perfect radius,
Yep.
and the middle one was about 6 inches off. So I'm scooting this cone across the ground with a soccer ball on with this machine, and the salesman over here is looking at me like, "What in the hell is he doing?" So anyways, the takeoff, basically what I did was I swung the bucket. I don't know if anybody's got any video of this.
No, I don't.
No, we didn't.
I was too busy running my mouth and not my
Well,
camera.
first off, it was the end of the day. Like, I think there was battery dead issues with people, and like phones were dead.
Because they had been on an extreme amount of equipment. Mike was doing a bunch of
and our group has not got any smaller.
No, not at all.
There was a big wave going to the Hyundai booth again.
So, anyways, I swing through all 3 of these balls, pick them all up in one swoop, drop the balls in the bucket, slam the bucket down. It was 7 seconds.
Yep.
I'm like, I got it. And the announcer guy, he's like dumbfounded and pissed.
Yeah, he's all confused, but you could tell he's a little aggravated because like,
when
man,
all
this was
the
gonna
other
be my guy
guys
to
that
make
had
fun
like
of.
tried it is like, damn, we didn't know we could do it that way. Yeah.
So anyways, then he's like, that was a fluke. You can't do 2 out of 3. I said, first off, to be clear, we're going to acknowledge that I won this thing. Now I'll do it 2 out of 3 times.
Mike wanted to get his prize first.
Yeah, I was going to make sure we had that prize locked down. So
Where is that prize?
It's up there it's still on the YouTube.
show.
So if you tune into the Dirt Perfect live streams, you can see.
So
that.
anyways, I end up doing it 3 times, and I've got it 2 out of 3 times. And then everybody else tried behind me, and there was soccer balls and cones flying.
Everywhere.
Yes,
There was-
everywhere. So I think like one of the cones even got like destroyed.
Yeah.
Like it was done.
It
after
wasn't
that.
long
Yeah.
after that
For
they
the
shut her
record,
down.
for
They
the
said.
record, I did not destroy anything.
No, not you. It was somebody else that did it.
But
yeah.
long story short, that was actually the beginning of my relationship with Hyundai.
Yes, it was a fluke adventure we went on, and it turned out better than you could ever expect.
It just
And-
goes to show
and-
you never know where an opportunity is going to come from.
This
And
is
we
true.
really proved our friendships because we smelled you all the way home.
But that not only goes for like events like that you go to, that's with YouTube too. So we have come to find out that some of the videos you post on YouTube, you might think they're good, but they're not good. YouTube will teach you that. And the ones you think, I'm just going to post this just because, those are the videos that take off half the time. I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason.
So before we get too far away from this, I do want to mention there is a video on my channel of that whole day at ICUE.
Yes.
And a lot of the stuff at the Hyundai booth is on there.
Yes.
I had to edit some of it out. Unfortunately, my winning run.
I may have gotten that on the ICU video.
My winning run is not on there, but thankfully, thanks to this huge posse I had follow me, I had several witnesses. So
Yeah.
I cannot make this up.
Yes,
It really
you didn't
happened.
make it up. Oh, I had to go back and watch that video I did up there. I think I may have caught a partial piece of it, but I don't think the whole run.
See, this goes back to we were at the World of Concrete one year, and Noosa-Wacken had this: if you got 3 basketballs in a trash can, you want to fly it to the Grand Canyon in a helicopter.
Right.
And I sat up there, and they were doing their all level up stuff. I said, fast time, 3 balls in the trash can wins it. I said, that's it, right? I said, he's like, yeah. All you gotta do is get 3 balls in the trash can, you win. I said, got it.
Game on.
Picked up all 3 balls, took the bucket, and shoved the whole son of a bitch right down the trash can.
They didn't say you
They
couldn't
didn't
tear
like
it up.
that.
I
today.
had fast time by 10 seconds. And they disqualified me. I'm like, I asked questions prior
Right,
to
I
starting
specifically
this.
asked this.
Oh, they were pissed.
So you guys know that we were kind of worried about how the Hyundai thing was going to turn out because we may have heard this story before.
Yeah, I think Dirt Perfect's just a little bit competitive and maybe just a tad bit of a sorry loser if he loses.
Yeah, he does get a little sore on losing sometimes, but that's a guy thing, really. I don't think
I'm okay if I lost fair and square. I did not lose that Nelson Wacker thing fair and square. I asked before I destroyed. Just saying.
Okay.
I have known him to find a way to bend the rules just a touch. I'm just going to
It's
say.
manipulate.
There's gray areas in every sport.
Yes. So, but Hyundai is since they have Dirt Perfect rules written into their things.
Like, you can practice several nights ahead of time on your operation game.
Junior, we're not going there.
Changing the subject.
Yeah.
Changing the subject.
So, but that whole trip was, I'd say after that trip's when we actually become true friends.
Right. We learned a lot about each other that day and
Yeah.
had an extremely great time doing
Yeah.
it. It was like, SOT Metalworks is not big in the construction side of stuff. I've run equipment back in the day, stuff like that. So I know where Mike's coming from on his side of things. But, we're more under the metal side of things. Going to the ICUE was all about construction equipment, but we found some things that day that chimed in with our business and what we do that made it a very interesting trip. Now, the big interesting part was hanging out with Mike and watching him do some of this stuff, but it was a fun time.
But I think
you had concerns.
I think that our friendship has moved on past friendship to family.
Yeah.
Now at this point, and that happened at the pond.
Yeah, and that goes back to like we don't hang out because we're both on YouTube now. We hang out because we're friends.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's several times we'll hang out and the camera will never be involved in any way, shape, or form.
Well, that's actually most times.
And well, I mean, the only time the camera comes out is when Wade comes around because it's just par for course, I guess.
Is it your guys' channel that loggerwade.com is on?
Yes. That was a Jamie Juice
That is
night.
late night at the water slide with Logger Wade.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Was that your 1,000 subscriber video or what was that?
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe
that was when we did like the interviews of all the people
Yeah.
of like that was our 1,000 subscriber video, and it only took 3 hours to get it. Wade's part.
So SOT Metalworks feels like Mr. Dirt Perfect took this podcast from a SOT Metalworks shout outs video. It's kind of
I think he's trying to put the smackdown on you on this.
No, Junior. I was going to hit on this a little bit. Junior, whenever you haven't done one for a while.
haven't done one for a while.
So
Really
you-
fell
on,
away from that.
On your channel, you used to have a thing called SOT Spotlight.
Right.
It was, and you had Wade on there. You had Harmless Farmer on there.
Harmless Farmer on there. You were on there.
Elite was on there.
Yep. Jason Works a Lot.
Jason Works a Lot. Jared was on there.
Yep.
Dirty Digging. But so you'd set us down and you do like a rapid fire 20 questions.
Right. Might have 15, 20 questions and just
Yeah,
ask.
and which I kind of wish you still did it because the podcast platform is more of an in-depth, detailed over thing where what you were doing was just bam, 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 bam.
Right, we'd do a 15-minute video. It would take about 15 minutes to run through those 20 questions, and it was just comments I'd follow on YouTube or what have you.
Or like
on your
kind of
guys'
get to
channel.
know the people,
Right.
whatever.
Maybe things people had asked in the comments or what have you, and I'd pull those questions or things I wanted to know, what have you, and just randomly throw them
I
out there.
still
to you.
think I had the coolest filming location for that.
I believe, yes, we flew you into a very scenic view there. That's for sure. That was top notch by far.
Yeah, upper deck of the Texas Rangers Stadium. So, but yeah, that was a cool thing you did, and hell, I'd even encourage you to go back to do it.
Yeah,
some
I
more.
would. I would like to go.
I
back
think
to
you
do
could
it.
even go back and redo like Me, Wade, and Harmless Farmer because so much has changed since you done it the first time, and I think there's more.
Do follow-up
It would be a
videos.
really different outlook.
like where
on
are
it now.
they now?
Yeah. But one thing I want to hit on here as we, get in the back half of this thing is YouTube success. We've discussed this a little bit, and I want to get your guys' input and take on this. I think everybody falls down the rabbit hole of judging YouTube success by three things: one being subscriber count,
Right.
2 being view count,
Right.
and 3 being your AdSense revenue.
Definitely, that's probably the biggest one.
And you guys, I mean, in full disclosure, subscribers and views are not.
They're not high on our list of, of things.
And even AdSense revenue wouldn't be a big thing on your income list. But with the flip side of that is you guys are extremely successful on YouTube.
And we are to a certain degree.
It's a whole different ballgame for us than
Right.
it is everybody that we hang out with.
YouTube was never. I never started YouTube just to start YouTube. The YouTube thing come around because of our business. It was a way to get our signs out there, our AR-500 steel targets, and things like that. People to put a set of eyes on everything and see how they liked the product we were making.
Not to interrupt you here, but I think you need to jump in here at some point and kind of explain what your guys' business is.
Let
and what you do.
me take this
Sure.
one. I'm gonna take this one. So we didn't start off as a sign business at all. We started off making AR-500 steel targets and catering to our buddies, essentially.
Yeah, because you guys you were in a shooting club, basically.
Right.
Right.
And our buddies would like bring their targets over, and Junior would be fixing and welding and whatever.
They would buy store-bought
And
stuff
I'm
that
mean.
didn't hold up.
I keep telling y'all I'm mean, and I'm the one that handles our finances. And it got to a point I said, you need to start charging your buddies every time you flip that welder on. Like, what are you doing? You're
Electric's
spending
not free. She told me.
and you're spending a lot of time doing it. So that kind of started our business in that direction. And then we just grew past that. We had a couple gun ranges and pistol guys that were ordering like big orders, and we were outsourcing a lot of things. And then we got the table because it just made good business sense
it was find a whole fill a niche or whatever, however they say
Right.
it. We found something nobody was providing. we had the capability to do that at the time, and that's how everything kind of started, really.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back with your real job. I know we're going to touch on that a little bit. That's kind of what you do.
Well, that's where I was going to go. I think the other thing to point out is your shooter options targets or SOT Metalworks. This is not, it's a full-time business, but it's a part-time gig. Does that make sense?
So we both have full-time day jobs. I work at Fort Knox. She works at Fort Knox. Mm-hmm. I do a little welding and stuff at work, so I've got a big welding background when it comes to
and you also had some experience on a CNC table.
Yes, and we've got the table at work and stuff like that, so that's no big surprise. Everybody's kind of seen some of that stuff.
So fast forward,
I always like to ask this one question. So I know, like with myself, Jen and I were in our therapy booth one night, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel." And she just horse laughed me, What I know, I had a neighbor hounding me to start one.
Sure.
What popped into your head one day where you thought a YouTube channel was a good idea?
It was a good outlet of social media to post our signs, our targets, builds like that.
But that wasn't just all. Like when he approached me with the idea, he said, one day I want my grandkids to be able to look back and see what I did.
That's where I was fixing to go. Yep.
And that was kind of like. That's when I was kind of like, okay, I'll cater to this one thing again.
I'm not a big home movie maker. We don't
have family
thing on my brain.
We don't have family videos
it is a cool way to document your life.
Yes, and not really even realize it.
Right.
It's
I've only been doing it 2 years, and we've even talked about in this podcast. Go back and watching some of these old videos and seeing how much things have changed. Yeah,
it's just amazing how much you can catch up with, But it kind of started because of the business. It wasn't something I was going to try to get famous at. It wasn't something I wanted to, do forever. It's just, I thought it was a good outlet.
But it also was one of these things. Like I just used YouTube to look up how to turn on a shower. So and that was legit. Like what he said to me.
We'll have to go to that video one of these days.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another video. It's a whole thing. But
we'd have to have some blur blobs in that one.
Yeah. But he said, he was watching videos on how to do the things he was doing. And so he saw the need to fill the gap for what he couldn't find on YouTube.
Well, with the CNC plasma world, a lot of people don't know this capability is out there to make the metal art and the CNC targets and the AR-500 steel stuff. It's something that a lot of people don't think about or look into and stuff like that. So when people start seeing this, they're like, well, what are you talking about? What does that look like? And I was like, maybe I need to make a video.
Right. So fast forward a little bit. Now we kind of know what the business motto is and kind of a little bit of background on that. So your success on YouTube today is I don't know you guys may know better than me how to elaborate on it, but I would say you guys are very, very successful on YouTube.
We are.
But it's a totally different.
I would say
so everybody knows everybody knows you make money on YouTube. Videos, whatever it may be, however it may work out for everybody. And the more subscribers you have, the more ad revenue you get, so on and so forth, the views and everything. We, as a small channel, we're just about to push 3,000.
I was going to say, do you care to mention, you're just shy of 3,000 subscribers? How many total views is the channel?
Right. I can't, to be honest, I really don't keep up with that. We're pushing 240 videos, I think.
So you're probably, I think we could look it up, but you're probably still under 1 million views on this channel.
Yes, I'm definitely under 1 million views. And I'd be surprised if I'm 500,000 views. That's pretty honest. And that's not what we strive for. We put a video up. Somebody sees that video of a sign we cut or what it may be. They get in contact with us or go to our website, SOTmetalworks.com, in case anybody needs to know.
And I do want to interject that we love each and every one of our subscribers. We have a lot of long-term relationships with subscribers because they're repeat customers and we get to know them. And so don't down what we have. We're just not as big as Dirt Perfect or Wade
I know you guys laugh at me, but I still consider myself a small channel.
Yeah, but to us, you're not. You're huge
right,
compared to us.
And it all depends on what step of YouTube you're in, though.
Yeah. But let me throw some numbers out. I'll give you some perspective. We know that YouTube pays and people get AdSense and all that stuff, and our checks are just piddly for that. Yeah. But I would say now that we've done it a couple years, I'm going to say, especially after COVID and people being at home a lot more, that about 90% of my business comes from YouTube.
And
that's massive. That is I couldn't be a Dirt Perfect size channel because we couldn't keep up.
Well, and there's no way you could have a Facebook or Instagram page and reach the people you reach.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
It's a large platform that we have shipped almost all 50 states now.
And some people don't even like find us on YouTube. It's that somebody else found us on YouTube and they recommended
the
us.
The flip side of that is if you were to reach the people you reach, you'd spend big money on a website.
Right.
Or you're actually getting paid a little bit of something from YouTube and still reaching those people.
Reaching those people.
Right.
It's the
I don't have a huge advertising budget. I don't need it.
Right.
I don't, and that's where we differ. Like,
because this is a part-time gig for us.
Right.
The SOT Metalworks.
But not just that, but like there's local people that we know that do similar things to what we do that spend mega dollars to advertise their products, and they're like putting ads out in the papers or things like that.
Yep.
I don't spend mega bucks to advertise because YouTube is my advertisement.
Right.
So.
It's
I just don't have to.
That is readily available for you. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. That is our big selling feature of SOT Metalworks. Mm-hmm. That's how we get a lot of our business. Now, do we do some local stuff and setups and things like that? Yes, definitely. But YouTube, and how we got into that was we started making logos for YouTubers.
We did.
Right.
We are the logo makers. That's our big,
Our paint work and everything with our metal artwork and signs and stuff like that is just really, it astonishes me I can do it. I'm going to be honest because I'm not much of an artist.
Oh, whatever.
But
everybody disagrees with that.
Some of the products I turn out, I'm like, holy cow, I didn't even think I could do that. But it makes it nice,
That's one thing you've got known for over the years is your painting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when you paint with an aerosol can,
because most people don't realize that it's all done with aerosol.
Yeah.
They just don't
pull out
realize
the big paint
that.
guns and do all that
I
stuff.
think aerosol is kind of like a lot of things. Like back in the day, that was the cheapo depot way out. But anymore, that's some of the best paints you can get. Yep. It's quick and easy.
Like I'm not going to the dollar store and picking up my paint.
Right.
I mean, we're spending good money on high quality stuff, but and it's. There's some aerosol cans we're spending $12, $14 on. That's ridiculous.
I think it's just important to, whenever you start a YouTube channel, like if you're just doing it to chase money and fame and all that
But it was
stuff.
never about money for us at all.
The chances of you being successful is probably a little less.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Few and far between. I mean, there are guys that do that, yes. But
I think one of the reasons a lot of us is so successful is it's just us. You know what I mean? We don't care if 10 people watch or 1,000 people watch.
That's it.
It's just us being us doing our thing. And if you want to come join us on our journey, great. If you don't.
And we
don't. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have 100,000 YouTube subscribers, but I know that's highly unfeasible from where we're at with a little small company. But maybe one day, if we stick at it long enough, we'll be just like Dirt Perfect.
Yeah, maybe we can hit Dirt Perfect standards.
But no, it's been a cool ride with this YouTube stuff too. And like I said, we're not all about the subscribers at SOT Metalworks. We're not all about the ad revenue. We are getting our revenue from a business selling signs on social media. We're a little different than Dirt Perfect or Logger Wade or what have you. Our deal is a little unique to us compared to what like their channels are.
So we got about 5 to 10 minutes here at the end. So just you guys been doing YouTube 2.5 going on 3 years now. Mm-hmm. So a few of your experiences, like your best experience, your worst experience, your most unexpected experience, like how's it been?
Friends by far the best.
Yeah.
The friends, we've all said it, and it's not just a saying, it's the truth. Like the people we have met.
I would have started YouTube 20 years ago.
Just to meet the people we've met.
Yeah, and
like I would give up YouTube tomorrow as long as we got to keep our friends.
Yeah, and Wade nailed this one back whenever I started. One of the things he said that convinced me to do YouTube is, YouTube does an excellent job of aligning like-minded people.
Yes, definitely.
And with the exception of a few, everybody we've met's just been top notch.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, by far.
And it's a work. You can make your YouTube channel however big you want it by how much work you put into it. I mean, and that's
you get out of it what you put into it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But yes, the people by far is probably the biggest surprise I've had on the YouTube side of things because we were really hesitant and kind of nervous about
meeting people.
What kind of people are
we
we
have to
going to meet on
understand,
YouTube?
We work for the government. That's kind of like taught to you to be careful about your social media and not trust people on the internet and things like that, And so that's kind of been different, I think, for us because like it opened our eyes. It's not always like a big, bad, scary thing, you know, but there is a balance. Like that is also one of the worst things.
Well, you got to put enough out there to keep people interested and keep them involved, but you also got to protect yourself. And what you got going
like
on.
we have security cameras at home. I never would have dreamed. You know what I mean? But we had to. I mean, you just have to sometimes.
Yeah, we got security cameras here. Nobody gave me the memo.
Yeah, I know. I heard you was naked in the garage and stuff.
I was not naked.
Okay, in your skivvies.
Well, I forgot to turn the compressor off, and we got proof.
That's
of
all
it.
right.
But no, YouTube's been it's been really surprising for us. It's been
So
that's
been a good experience. What's been you got like a most surprising, your most surprising, or maybe most disappointing?
Surprising for me is when friends of ours will be like, hey, I had my S.O.T. Metalwork shirt on and I was like 6 states over and these people like came up to me and approached me and said, hey, you watch that channel? And
that
surprises me. Or like if I've been asked for my autograph, that surprises me because like we're just blue collar working people.
Yeah, we're just like everybody
we have
else
2
out there
jobs.
watching and listening.
You know, we have a real job and a running a business job, you know, and so that always shocks me sometimes, I think. Don't it shock to you?
Yes, it does. That's probably one of the shocking things.
Well, we're just as common or the person you're talking to, but it's like the gentleman who came down from Wisconsin to meet me this week. You know, he runs a company 3 times the size of mine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm more in all of him than he is me, but he can't get over there. He's in dirt perfect job. You know,
And you never would have met that guy had it not been for YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know if it's weird or it's awkward. It's just like it's flattering. I guess.
It is. Yeah, it
You know
is.
what I mean? I guess that'd be the best way to
Good word.
Good way to put it. So. But I think we can all probably agree that the majority of our YouTube experiences have been awesome.
Yeah.
And I would strongly encourage anybody to start a YouTube channel.
I can't think of anything directly offhand that I would be unappreciative about when it comes to YouTube.
I mean, we've all had some encounters with some
different people, different folks, you know, different strokes for different
questionable
folks.
intentions.
Yes.
The best way to put it.
That's going to be in every group, I think.
And I don't know if you're like this, but like, I don't like to hurt people's feelings or disappoint them. So sometimes
this is a completely surprise to me.
Now look, if I'm going to hurt your feelings, you're going to absolutely know it because I am very truthful and in your face about it because I just say it how it is. Like, you're never going to guess where you're at with me. But I don't want to, like, if somebody makes me uncomfortable, which has happened, I don't want to be like, yo, dude, you know, you're making me uncomfortable. Can you get back? You know what I mean? Because that has happened to us.
It has, but it's been very, very few.
It has been very few and far between. So,
one or two circumstances we can think about that.
I just think one of the random coolest things about YouTube is I'm pretty sure at this point I could travel anywhere in the world and have a place to stay.
I don't. Well,
we've been invited.
We're just going to have to go with you because we're not quite there yet.
Well, we got invited to Florida to go down.
We
on a
have.
fishing trip.
We've been
and
invited
stuff
a
like
couple
that,
places. So,
but we're a small channel, and like I said, we kind of do. We hold that dear to our hearts because we are a small channel. I don't know how to put this really. It makes us appreciate it a little more. Mm-hmm. It makes us hold on to it because if we like had to that many people, we wouldn't be able to easily.
We like to work one-on-one with our customers. Like, we want our customers to be happy. Like, that's one thing I can definitely say Junior is very, very good about is we're not like the big companies you're going to order a metal sign from.
You're not just a number for us.
You're not calling a big customer service center. You're not ordering something that's going to take 12 to 16 weeks to get with your name on it. When you order from us, you're talking to one of us. Right. And we're holding your hand through the process. And we take great pride in our customer service with our people, you know.
What would you say the future of SOT Metalworks is? Do you foresee this being a full-time gig one day, or is you?
I have a plan.
Oh boy!
So it don't matter what you want.
Let's start a whole new podcast.
Right.
My full-time job, I am a contractor. So as a government contractor, they could come in and say, hey, it's time for you to go home.
Right.
So we always wanted something to fall back on. That was our big thing
plan B.
of starting
That's his
SOT
backup
Metalworks.
plan. But I have a long-term plan.
Now, do I want it to be my full-time gig? I'm not 100% sure I do.
Sometimes
because then you're forced to do it.
Yeah, sometimes it takes the fun out of it.
Yep. And it's highly entertaining for me right now and stuff. I think I would have no issues doing it, and I think it's something we're going to look towards in the future. But is it there right now? I'm not sure. Right. I know the product and the making the money on the side of the business and everything can support us doing it, but I'm not sure we're at the point we have to just yet.
Right. And why do it? Why force it?
Yeah.
So here's my plan. Don't listen to him. My plan's what matters. My plan is that our business will be an early retirement for us. My plan is that we will be able to leave our full-time
Give you the
jobs
option to quit a
at
little
an earlier age and do our business to support us quicker.
Because a lot of people don't know this. I'm 44 years old.
Oh my gosh, you think
I got
he's
told last
ancient.
night by Full Tilt. He was highly surprised I was 44 years old.
Yeah.
Till you take your hat off.
That's right.
I look good, I smell good, and people like me.
God.
Except for the shower mat.
Yeah.
Hey, don't make fun of the shower mat. It's highly dangerous.
So
But no, that's kind of the SOT. It is our backup plan. It has been for a while. But hopefully at some point we will be able to retire early.
And that's one thing, too. Our business is still small enough. We can take it in any direction we need
right,
to
right.
at this
There's
point.
still
And we do
multiple-
that.
Yes.
Like when we need to back it off a little bit, we back it off a little bit because we do work full-time jobs. Like, we do have another whole
Well, if
avenue.
I'm going to work 24/7, 365 days a year, then I can't come spend time with my play dates and stuff.
Right, right.
So, well, guys, we're right at an hour. We'll probably need to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys taking
Appreciate
the time
everybody
to sit
having
down.
listening,
us,
tuning in.
yeah.
This has been
Yep.
awesome.
And we'll get you guys linked up to the. You got to shout out your
Yeah, if you guys need anything, reach over to SOTmetalworks.com. Come over and check us out. We'll be filling all your sign needs, metal artwork, AR-500 steel targets, anything you may need. And you will get a hold of Miss SOT if you email me at shootersoptiontargets@gmail.com.
What one other random question? Let's just say I order a sign and I live in Kansas. What's the lead time? Like how fast do you guys turn stuff around?
About 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks. That's normally what we tell
And
everybody.
it all kind of depends on dry time.
Gotcha.
Because we have Kentucky bipolar weather. And depending on the weather, how fast signs dry, because they have to be dry to
Just so
ship.
you know, if you order off the website, most anything you see on the website, I say most, not all of it, but most everything is already pre-stocked, ready to get
Go.
in a cardboard box and shipped right out the door.
Yeah.
So,
Those are days.
but
If
now
it's-
a lot of your YouTube logos or personalized signs, stuff like that, you're looking at 2.5 weeks, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Gotcha. Well, guys, thanks a million for sitting down. Greatly appreciate it. Hope
Thank you
everybody
so
comes
much.
over
Thanks
and
for
checks
having
out
us.
what you guys got going on. Maybe an order a sign or two, and I'm sure we'll be sitting down again.
Oh, yeah. All right, y'all have a good one.
Thanks for listening, guys.